we know how you feel. We didn't believe it either when we were you and we us said what we us are saying right now.
Okay, wait. If you guys are really us, what number are we thinking of?
69 dudes! Whoa. Look, we gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta get back to the report. Rufus!
Listen to this dude, Rufus. He knows what he's talking about.
Right, and Ted, give my love to the princesses. Who? You'll see.
Gentlemen, is everything all right?
Ted, don't forget to wind your cheat codes. Oh my God. So appropriate. It's October 29th, 2015. Welcome to episode 69 of the Cheat Codes podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you're looking forward to a very spoopy Halloween. The next hour is us enjoying a couple beers and going over our favorite bits from the past week in video game tech and pop culture news. My name is Joe Erskine. I am your host, and we're coming to you from a cramped phone booth, careening through time, wishing that we were hanging out with George Carlin. Today, I'm here with the Cheat Codes producer and editor, Mr. Joe S. Arroyo, Esquire.
Hello.
The Cheat Codes contributor, Mr. Nikk Theodore Golesh.
Hey.
And we're very, very happy to welcome the Pug Butt Imagineer and Butt Sniffing Pugs director, Mr. Gabe Rufus Telepak.
That's my name.
Yes, sir.
That's my job title. My business card.
It's a glorious thing.
I have one of those cards.
Today on the show, we're going to air the solos that are the following topics. What do the new DRM rulings from the Copyright Office have to do with games? Some good, some bad. Sony hit Paris this week to announce a bevy of new exclusives and more. They've cut their console price and are basically gearing up to remind Microsoft who's top pug. Très bien.
Didn't have to do that.
And perhaps most importantly, we're going to talk about butt-sniffing pugs. Specifically, the controller. Our guest is going to use a giant tennis ball and a stuffed pug's butt to make it a controller for all players. The power of a pug's ass, ladies and gentlemen. It's an amazing thing.
It's definitely unique.
Yeah, for sure. For today's lightning round, we'll each have a minute to chime in on these little bits. Harmonic employees were caught 5-star reviewing Rock Band 4 on Amazon. On an unrelated note, as a new fan of this podcast who has clearly nothing to do with this development, I'd personally rate this topic 5 stars. We haven't talked about Eve in a while. At least not since Nikk brought it up last time. They're teaming up with researchers to offer a minigame to players where they can help out with a scientific initiative.
Eve is real.
Crowdsourcing science for the win, ladies and gentlemen. One of the producers for the inevitable 5th installment of the Indiana Jones franchise says he won't recast the titular role. We're going to try and convince Nikk that no one, not even Chris Pratt, can fill his shoes.
Did I ever say Chris Pratt was going to fill Indiana Jones?
Don't worry about it. We're going to convince you.
We're going to convince you that it shouldn't happen anyway. As much as we like games, we like beer a whole lot too. We like to feature something sudsy and alcoholic on every episode of this show, and this week is certainly no exception. In fact, because it's so close to Halloween, we're enjoying some
Cerveza de los Muertos
from
Cervecería Mexicana.
Thank you to our Mexican correspondent, Mr.
Arroyo.
They are the same folks who bring you
Tecate?
We straight off the not-so-beaten path this week. Just go with it. To find a fitting Halloween beer that's not made with a fucking pumpkin. God damn it. Mr.
It's
Telepak.
not very good.
Yeah, it's not that great. It's fine. It serves the purpose. Mr. Telepak, thank you so much for being on the show. Tell us all a little about where butt-sniffing pugs came from and what's on the horizon for the folks at Space Beagles.
Oh, man. Butt-sniffing pugs came from my bad idea. And it was completely the result of my fiancée, Michelle, telling me to actually make a good game.
As opposed to bad games?
Yeah, it was horrible. It was funny because I went through other like game phases, like as indie devs do, and like eventually she's like, I want you to make me like a pug game, right? And I'm like, okay, sure. And I was like obsessed with Towerfall and like competitive multiplayer, and so I made this like some of the guys that I game jam with, we made this like highly competitive, like territorial pug game. And there's like 50 pugs on screen. They had a lot of hats, and it was territorial, and it was like really confusing. And like any single time I tried to get somebody to play it, they always made that face where they were like, and like it was like totally like them just playing it because they were my friend, and they were like, when is it over?
Would you say that they were making a pug face? When you
I would
asked
definitely say they were making a face for the pug face. It was only like 4 people in the world played it, and then we like killed it. And Michelle was like, when I brought it to her, she's like, I love you, this is good, but this is like garbage, and she's like, you need to throw all this away, and you need to keep like these two good things. She's like, you just need to make a game that anybody can play, or you could be a dog and just poop and have fun. I was like, okay, game anybody can play, be a dog, poop and have fun. So we made like literally just a like little open world game that's interactive, and you can poop, and it's just a little like kind of playground. And then everybody fell in love with it. And everybody fell in love with it even more because of the butt controller.
Yep. I'm one of those individuals.
Yes, that's one of our stars, because we were like, how are we gonna? I was inspired when I went to All Control GDC like 2 years ago, which is an exhibit that makes custom controllers. And it's really cool, and it's funny because you go to GDC and you're like, where are all the games? There's no games. This place sucks. Like, I went here to play games, and I went in lines. The only place that there was games like the IGF and like All Control, and so I was inspired. And if you get picked for All Control, you get a free GDC pass. So we're like, oh,
zing,
okay, yeah, ding,
and
we're making this cool game. Yeah, let's make a weird controller so we can get him for free. So like, okay, the game's butt sniffing pugs. Okay, so we should like try to emulate like being a dog. And then I was in Texas, and I was drinking, and one of my friends, we were like drunk and joking, and he was like, "Ha, you should use like a giant tennis ball, like
So
like
great.
you're running like a dog with your 2 hands." I'm like, "Ha, that's funny." And then like after, like I went on Amazon, I'm like, "Oh, they exist." Okay.
Like when you
So I
were
bought-
sober in the morning, you're like, a tennis ball's not a bad idea for
This makes total sense.
Okay, we'll make a giant tennis ball. And then initially the design was that you would have the tennis ball and the 2 buttons up top, and there would just be a big button, right? And so the idea was we had to like figure out how to make the butt sniffing work. And so we're like, okay, maybe you like hold 2 buttons up top and you hit it with your nose, so you butt sniff. And then Andrew, my buddy and the controller designer, he was like, wait. What if we like go literal, and what if we actually put a pug butt on the button? And I was like, we don't even have to make people butt sniff. We just make it a butt.
Question: what percentage of individuals who play your game actually put their face in the butt of the pug rather than hit it with their hand?
I want to say that like it's been a steady statistic of like it was 40% and dropping, which is fine at GDC. Right when we showed it, we had people just want to like very like enthusiastically like hit it with their face. That was back in the days when we like Febreze it very heavily too, so it actually smelled nice. But yeah, no, it kind of went down, especially with like sanitation. Like I'm coming off of getting sick after Indiecade, and it took me seven. We have been super clean with the butts. Like it's like essentially half of a plush pug, right?
So
and so
good.
after every expo, we have to take it off. We have to hand wash it, dry. I've done that for 7 expos and haven't gotten sick until Indiecade. So I
damn.
consider that an accomplishment.
You should blame that on like someone else's game.
Yeah.
I know.
Like, what games did you play test? Because that's probably where you got it.
Some filthy,
Wine wobbler, Robin.
some
Custom
filthy
all those-
playtester like corrupted a pug butt somewhere, and it's all
Do you
right.
do you guys
Yeah.
like spray it down in between each?
little Scotch
face
guard or
injection.
something. Yeah.
We have little like Lysol spray, and so we just do like a little psst, like you have to like spray it perfectly so it's like far away, and then it like rests on the
Or you
can't
could.
spray too close because then it gets damp and people are like, oh, why is this butt wet?
Yeah, that's even worse.
it doesn't get
But
on.
it
You have to
smells
do, like,
minty. I don't understand.
It should be like a surprise spray on the person who's about to test it. Like, just preemptively make sure they're clean.
Yeah, just spray their
play.
face.
People want to play, and like, oh, hold on, and they're like, oh my god, what's going on?
Just right in the face. Here, play my game.
Yeah, I remember we saw this at PAX, and we played it for a little bit or something. And,
Yeah, it was great.
That was the first thing I thought. I was like, is everybody at PAX putting their face in this butt? Is like, and so
The answer is yes.
yeah, when I saw it, like everybody was just tapping it with their hand instead or something. But
You gotta play it.
Yeah, we played it.
We played it.
We actually looked for you while we were there, but you weren't at the booth at the time.
I was. PAX was crazy.
Yeah.
We had that like Disneyland line, and like we were talking with everybody, and yeah, PAX was probably the best con that we had, but it was also probably the most like physically insane and like most insane like interviews and like everything like that.
Oh yeah.
So like PewDiePie was there. I met PewDiePie.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, like that was like I was so busy I didn't even get to see his like reveal. Michelle said it was like Jesus walking through like a sea of nerds, and he was just like there.
That sounds appropriate. I believe
Yeah,
that.
and then, I'm like busy, and she's like, he's here. We need to do this now. And I'm like, oh, really? We're doing this now? Okay, sure.
Wait, has he streamed your game yet where he puts his face in a pug butt? Because that's got to happen.
No. Oh, I wish. I should email him and be like, hey, can I send you a butt?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd respond to that email if I were PewDiePie, I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
The butt tour is over now, so I could realistically I could send him it. There's only 2 in the world.
Oh,
2 butt controllers.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna dive deeper to that when we get to that topic for sure.
We will be getting to that very shortly. I thank you very much for being here. We're glad you could make the time for us. I'm sure that things have. It sounds like things were very busy and are maybe quieting down a bit.
Things are a little busy. We have this Kickstarter thing we're trying to figure out.
Right.
So
Right on. All right. First and foremost, for topics this week, this one's going to come a little bit out of left field, but it'll make sense in a little while, everybody. So bear with us. In a ruling this week, the Copyright Office of the United States is saying that there's some sort of good things, bad things coming out of their new ruling, and they do these rulings every about 3 years or so. While it covers most electronics and devices, what they're saying is that if you want to jailbreak some shit, you can, but you can't get any jailbreak software to do it. So thanks, the U.S. government. Let's just say that right up front. What they're saying is that they're taking a bunch as technology and everything else explodes, it becomes kind of this copyright based thing. Companies are going to try and protect and intend their products for a certain use, right? This all makes sense. We use our iPhones a certain way. We use the internet a certain way. We use our cars a certain way. Sure, that's great. But people decide that they want to change anything that has a computer in it. People decide that they may want to change for quote unquote non-harmful purposes to increase their capability or do something that is maybe more apropos to their purposes, right? So what's interesting about this, and what I found most interesting, is what this means for gaming. Because DRM, in a general sense, has become kind of a dirty word, right up there with microtransactions or anything else.
EA.
Right.
EA is a dirty word.
Go through any gaming thread or any topic, any article about DRM, and you're going to find people like, oh, fuck you, and like I don't want anybody else to have control over the thing. Like, I bought this, that means I should own it, and I should be able to do whatever I want with it, which is correct to a certain point. Most companies are going to try and protect their patents to a certain degree, where they're going to be like, well, hey, we intended this for a certain use. If you're using it outside of that, maybe that's not such a great thing. And the government has slowly kept up with an ability to try and make this accessible to both the layman and other people as well. So, go ahead, Nick.
I guess what I got out of this the most was not just like specific hardware or something, but software and stuff like older games. I guess not terribly old games, but like maybe 10 years ago or something, where they had like a dedicated server up where you could play it or something, and then those go down, and person wants to play that game again, but they can't because it's
no
online
servers
only.
left.
You
Yeah.
can't play it. This is great because they're saying you can you can actually like modify the game to actually play without the server, and you can continue playing your game.
Right.
Which fitting for the Halloween episode, you can bring a game back from the dead.
Oh, so spoopy.
No. I don't know. That's the cool thing. I guess I got out of this.
Is real shit right here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I've never been into really jailbreaking my tablets or my phones or anything before, but
me either. And it's funny you mention that. So for context, it's the government decided that if you decide to jailbreak a phone, that's all right, as long as you're doing it for a non-harmful purpose. What they've also decided is that tablets are considered in the same category as phones. It took them a while to figure that out.
They're just big phones.
There are apparently there's legal language that differentiates the two, but thankfully now they're under the same umbrella.
Where do phablets go?
What the
Probably
hell
under
is a
that
phablet?
It's a phone tab. It's what I have. It's a Note, a Galaxy Note 3 or something.
You literally
It's
have.
Oh, I own a phablet and I didn't even know
phablet,
it.
yeah.
See, when I hear phablet, I hear phablet, like F, not PH.
Oh.
Well, my thing is those phablets and the case that you have around it makes it look like a clutch purse around a phone.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what designer that you're wearing tomorrow.
Nick is dying to wear his little black dress with his
a cocktail thing.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about this is that the way this has changed is that when it comes to museums, archivists, and librarians, if you want to jailbreak a console or a PC game that has a dead server that is not active anymore, you are now legally allowed to do so. Which is kind of a cool thing when it comes to the whole idea of the preservation of games. There are so many games out there that, because technology hasn't caught up to it, or nobody even was forward thinking enough to kind of make a clause for this, that said we need to turn around and be like, hey, if we want these things to kind of exist in the long run, which we all assume how digital works is not necessarily the case. Like, we have to make sure that there are playable versions of this for people to understand where gaming came from and how to progress appropriately. What were you going to say, Joe?
Gabe, you're a busy man, as am I, and I find myself struggling to even keep up with every game that comes out every week from every publisher ever. Do any of us have the time or care to jailbreak something, to bring something back from the dead, or for nostalgic purposes?
I mean, I've always wanted to play Phantasy Star Online for a solid month.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
That's a reasonable fucking desire.
Right?
Absolutely.
I'm never going to be able to do that again.
Maybe you will.
Maybe you can now, based on some of these.
Can.
Yeah.
No, I don't have time to jailbreak. I don't have time to remind myself to drink water.
Hey, you did. You got a water before the podcast started.
Yeah, only because I had one. I saw it. I'm sick. I'm just I'm a giant brain toilet, and I just poop out everything I think of. And so I don't that's why we're in this age of iPhone apps and if for me to jailbreak anything, it is going to take a solid I have to sit down, I have to prepare myself, I have to drink water, probably a snack, and get on Google, a deep breath, start to figure out what I'm doing. I don't have time to jailbreak anything, but there is that point where it is kind of optimistic, and that it's getting to this point where it's hey, if there's this segment of games that are in my history that people can archive now, that's exciting, because then I don't have to do that, and that could be easier for me to find, because a lot of my favorite games are from my childhood and from early Nintendo days, and it's very hard to play those games and even emulate stuff that is past emulation. I think as a whole, it's oh, do you want to emulate 16-bit, or do you want to once you get to 3D, it's oh, I was trying to play Mario Golf with my future father-in-law, and I was emulating that on my little MacBook.
No luck.
And no, we got past it, but there'd be a point where he would choose somebody like Bowser, and right as he would hit the ball, Bowser's 3D polygons would explode. He'd be pow, and he'd be oh my god! It's I'm
it's a scene from Alien, this comes out of his
chest burster. Yeah.
That's supposed to happen, I think.
You seem like you're the ideal demographic that's affected by this outcome in the way where it's I don't have any time to jailbreak shit. I need someone to make the tools to jailbreak it for me, and you're telling me that I can't get those things. Like, I can jailbreak it, but I can't get the thing that jailbreaks it, like, for me. Like, I'm in the same boat, and that totally sucks.
I need to press a button that I like. If you give me an app, I'm like, can I just press a button? I just need it to work. That's why I'm a console boy.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Yeah, me too. Because we make this joke all the time, and we've been like student developers for a long time, and now a bunch of us are starting to kind of branch out into development, like on a professional level, and we all kind of joke about the button that just says "make game." Like, hit the button.
Game button.
It's a make game button. It's a make game
I want
function.
that
It just happens. Like that would be a glorious thing.
I mean, I didn't say it was a make good game button. It's just a
it's
make
just
game
game
button.
button. Yeah.
Game button. There's somebody that is doing that.
Come on.
He's like the make game guy. Like, but it was I heard about that on a podcast, and it was like really bad ideas. Like, people were tweeting him like the worst ideas, and he's like, okay, I'll make it into a game. And he's like, I don't know if it'll be good, but I'm gonna make it into a game.
Oh yes.
I think that oh my god, I think that was the guy that made the shower with your dad simulator.
Oh yeah. We have
Yeah.
talked about it on this show.
Yeah, we talked about the game. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great. Well,
just hit him up. Hit him up.
We
We'll
will.
make your game.
We
Make,
shall.
it's the make game button.
Can you make a game for us?
Right.
We won't pay you.
Just
but
press the button.
We'll
Just press
ask
the
you.
button. Yeah.
That's all right with me. I like the idea of the jailbreaking. I mean, I read this, and most of the article was about like a lot of legal jargon, and there was inside of it
Kind of an op-ed piece.
Yeah, it was definitely op-ed, like baby doesn't get his candy kind of feeling. But I like where it's going. Like, the government works in very, 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 very small steps. So at least it's a step in the right direction. So
Hashtag thanks, Obama.
yeah. Sure. whatever.
Just kidding. I have no idea. This has been an evolving process that has come out of kind of anybody who's aware of it, the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, and this section that they're referring to and where all these rulings came down this past week on the 27th of October came from Section 1201, which was originally drafted to support companies' rights and to create electronic products and then enforce the way that they were used. So the fact that any of this is coming through now is kind of is a step in the right direction as far as like from a consumer level. If I buy something, then I own it, right? Like that whole idea where I can do whatever I want. If I buy a car, I can alter it in a way that is going to be, I don't know, just the way I want it to be, or somehow beneficial to.
You can put new rims on it.
Sure, why not? Yeah, absolutely. I got some spinners. Cool.
I want to put some rims on my copy of Butt Sniffing Pugs.
There's no necessarily
that
like
okay?
direct legislation.
That's DRM protected.
Right.
Damn it.
Well, that's the difference between kind of like physical objects and everything. But anything that acts with a computer kind of falls under this purview.
Well,
and
yeah. It just kind of basically like I download all these songs on iTunes and something, and at some point somebody says that, oh, we're going to remove all of Taylor Swift, and suddenly my library no longer has any Taylor Swift on it. Like I don't really own the song.
That sucks.
Like
man.
that's
You
kind
meant?
of
Didn't you mean that your library doesn't exist?
Yeah.
Sounded like that's what you meant.
He's
to
right.
say.
You got it. You may come back on the show whenever you please, sir.
it's fine because I'm just going to go download the Ryan Adams version.
yeah.
Yes.
Taylor Swift,
Yeah,
so
the
it's
Ryan
fine.
Adams 1989 is better anyway.
It's great. My point is that this whole idea is indicative of a much larger thing. This evolving kind of beast that is technology and the way that we interact with it and the way that corporate companies and entities control it. And so what the government, I guess, is struggling with is how to define the way that consumers are willing to interact with it and pay for. If not, then we need to kind of figure out a way to legislate it better, right? Like, I think that's the best way to do it. There are steps that are going in the right direction. The Electronic Frontier Foundation is feeling fairly justified in its progress. There's a long way to go. If you are a librarian or an archivist, then you're good to go if you want to start jailbreaking consoles. Until then, you're only, if you're just like a regular user, you can only do PC games.
We'll check in with you next year.
Right. Or in 3 years, rather.
Oh yeah,
Or just
yeah,
everybody
they
just
are.
it's
become a
3 years.
librarian.
What was
That's
that?
an easy way to do it. Everybody just become a librarian.
Right.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I like.
Find your local library, jailbreak games.
That's it. You just jailbroke the copyright office law right there, bro.
Everybody wins. Books
Loopholes.
wins, Video games.
That's going to be on like the the plaque that says don't download porn, don't jailbreak games, or at the library, like when you go to the
console. It's like
little computer and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty good. All right, next. No segue this time, guys. I'm just going to move along. Sony had a very big week in France this week. They did their Paris Games Week. They announced a very large slew of stuff that's coming out in the next few years, as well as stuff that happened to come out like that day. There's been a lot of hubbub going around that Sony's not kind of like holding up, despite the fact that they're crushing it in sales as far as a console is concerned, that maybe Xbox has got a better lineup of exclusives or whatever. What it sounded like from what I could tell is that all the big conferences decided that Sony was like, yeah, fuck you, we're gonna wait, and we're gonna give a 2-hour press conference at Paris Games Week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pacing much?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So basically, what it worked, they worked at a few different, line items here, and then I'm going to let everybody kind of respond. If anybody watched trailers, or anybody watched anything that was kind of appropriate to this kind of topic, then we'll let them chime in here. But the PS4 is going to get a price drop, at least here in America, from $350 to $300. It's going to make them competitive for the holiday season. This makes a total amount of sense, right? We got new trailers from a bunch of games. The one I found most interesting was the Quantic Dream's new Detroit Become Human. The guys who made Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls have a new one coming out. We can expect something very cinematic, very graphically fucking amazing. Let's just hope that the narrative hangs in there. Hasn't that always been kind of like their downfall to a certain degree?
I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gabe. What were you gonna say?
It just makes it's like when you think of like David Cage and you're like, those are good games. Like it's just a conflict where you're like, Indigo Prophecy was all right,
Yeah, that's how I feel about Indigo Prophecy.
It's like it's very that like Toy Story 2 was okay vibe. like it was like, yeah, like I didn't even play Beyond, and like Heavy Rain was like amazing. Sure, but like he's gone into that vibe where I don't know if he can do something past Heavy Rain. I feel like that was like his big climax, and ever since then, like maybe.
Oh ye of little faith. Maybe it's waiting. Yeah.
David Cage, Gabe Telepak just called you out, dude. I'm just saying. The guy who's making butt sniffing pugs just called out the guy who made Heavy Rain. I'm just saying.
Make you feel things again. Like I have every one of his games on my shelf, so I'll buy this one. But
sure.
Yeah.
No, I will too. Like I love anybody that's willing to go down a narrative route, and that's one thing that Quantic Dreams has always done. We'll see. If you guys watch the trailer, I don't know. There's gonna be a whole class battle.
Dude, I'm stoked about it. I'm coming off the Until Dawn high. I know it's not the same, but I know that it also is in some ways.
Narrative-based games need some love.
Yeah.
Right?
It's something as good as Until Dawn.
Yeah. I've played through. We have now played through it twice in this household. And by household, I literally do mean that 3 individuals sitting on the couch together playing through the whole game twice.
Oh.
It's that we're like, what happens next? On the second playthrough, we're like, oh, this game is on it's definitely on rails more than we thought the first time.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you play through it again. It's obvious.
All right. After Uncharted 4, obviously it's on the brink here. They debuted some footage from the new multiplayer mode. It was kind of like a weird cinematic trailer that kind of like spliced in some gameplay stuff as well. I haven't played a whole lot of Uncharted multiplayer, but this shit looked fun as hell.
The
it looked really fun. It looked like it was something like the cool thing was that it kept it in third person for the most part, and then
it is in third person.
Well, I appreciate that, but there are sometimes gameplay modes like change it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm just saying, like the way that they were tossing around like healing, and the way they were tossing around ammo, and just kind of like,
and then the crazy totem at the end that was like, "I'm going to harvest your spirits." Yeah, like what the hell is happening? And then it's like Uncharted. Ask your friends what just happened.
Something or other. Yeah, it's great. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. That'll be great. What else? I think the other big one was the Rayman guy, Ansel. his new game Wild, in which the whole like man versus nature thing. You're a shaman. Shaman.
Stop it.
No. You have this whole ability to kind of like become other animals. You get to ride on bears, soar as eagles.
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 Yeah, we're all equals.
It's the
Eagles.
it's the Mexican pronunciation of eagle.
Don't even go there. Nice try.
We had Street Fighter 7. We had apparently this went live actually yesterday during the announcement.
Street Fighter 5.
I'm sorry, as well as Tekken 7.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then Drive Club did its new expansion. I don't know who's playing Drive Club because that launch was a fucking disaster. But guess what? You can get bikes now, so that's cool. And then there was Boundless, which is basically Minecraft and a bunch of other like thematic things that are graphically
Better,
less
blocky.
Yes, perfectly stated, yeah. Nick. Thank you. And then as a footnote to all this, No Man's Sky got a release month.
Finally,
not a date,
that's all
but
right.
a month.
I can take it.
But they're saying June of 2016. We're gonna see Hello Games' No Man's Sky.
All
right. I have one question for you, Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't Butt Sniffing Pugs part of this console announcement for PlayStation 4? I know we're going to get to this very shortly, and I know that you guys are a PC focused game and everything else, but the rumor is that there might be some console involvement. So I want to know when I can get my PlayStation 4 pug ass controller so that I can play Butt Sniffing Pug.
Yeah.
You can't even
Butt
say
Sniffing
it.
Pugs. I can't. I'm sorry.
No, I can't say anything, but I can say that I'm a PS4 registered developer, so that
okay.
might mean things.
That's all
Just
the information we
saying.
need, sir.
When we debuted at GDC, he said that he was excited for indies like No Man's Sky, Octodad, and Butt Sniffing Pugs.
Fuck yeah!
And the fact that Shu mentioned us,
Shoehei, dude.
Damn.
You can literally just retire at this point, dude. Yeah.
Dude,
well
congratulations,
done. Well
sir.
done.
That's fantastic. Wow.
That has been a good calling card I can use for a while. I'm like, oh, president of Sony.
No big
Butts
deal.
and Pugs, No Man's Sky, practically the same thing.
It's effectively, yes. All you have to do is just keep
game.
zooming out and you just see all the pug asses.
Yeah, how
thousands
many universes can my pugs poop in?
One.
It's a big universe, though. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Technically speaking, No Man's Sky takes place in one universe as well. It was a trick question.
Yeah, see?
They're on the same level. I'm just saying.
I've been officially fooled.
I honestly just assumed you made an incorrect
Oh,
assumption.
come on. It was intentional. All right, fine. Don't even worry about it.
It's time. We gotta dig in deep here with Gabe a little bit, I think.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right, first question. What would you do with your extra $50 since they dropped the price from $350 to $300 on the PlayStation?
Yeah, good question. Where does that actually?
I don't have one. I would get one immediately.
Okay, so
I'm
now
sorry.
that we know,
Can I say one thing real quick? You are a preferred Sony developer or whatever, but you don't own a PS4?
he's busy.
don't.
Don't you remember that part?
I'm busy.
I know.
You know,
Busy has nothing to do with it.
Hold on.
Sure.
Let's redeem myself. So for one thing, my brother, he plays every video game on the planet,
Okay.
like literally. And so I vicariously lived through him, and so he plays all of the games, and I get to hear about it and talk about it, etc. Follow everything daily. To give you an aspect of my indie life, probably about 3 months ago, I had no internet. I had a Wii U, and that was my only next gen console.
I'm
And so in order to download games, I would have to take the Wii U, because the Wii U's good because you can plug it in, you can still see it without a TV. I would have to go to Michelle's room, plug it in to the back wall, and hug near the back wall so we could steal these grandparents' Wi-Fi so that I could download games and then take it back and bring it all the way back to the TV so that I could actually play something. I would play Smash Brothers against a level 9 character so that one day I could eventually play with Chris, and that I played against level 9 King DDDs for probably about a solid month. because I was a lonely indie and I had no money. That was my poor life.
So Joe Erskine, you're
Yeah.
an asshole, in short, and I agree with Gabe when he called you an asshole, and
That's fine.
Most games, a lot of games are on Steam, so I played a good portion
Yeah.
of the PS. Or I have a Vita, that thing that exists.
I think
So-
I think my question becomes more relevant now, because now when you go out and buy the PS4 and you only have to spend $300 on it, where's that extra $50 going, Gabe?
I don't know.
You got lots of
there's so much
coffee.
potential.
You know where it's
Yeah.
it's going to the third giant tennis ball pug butt
Yeah,
controller.
the third controller.
The third one. There's only
I'm sure
two
it's
in
more than
existence.
$50 to make.
I'm sure
but-
it is, but you gotta scrimp and save where you can.
I was gonna go say it's probably gonna go to like the Mega Yoshi amiibo, if I had to be honest.
Why not the yarn? Why not the yarn Yoshi? Come on.
Yeah.
I need the big one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I need the
Mega.
big yard one. I'm not going
Fair
for those
enough.
little guys. I
Yeah,
gotta
fuck
get
that
the big
shit.
one.
Go big or go home. I appreciate that. Fair enough. So those of us that may or may not have been paying attention, Nathan Grayson at Kotaku did a fancy little article about our guest and his game, Butt Sniffing Pugs, and about how this is honestly, as cool as the game is and everything else, this is honestly one of my favorite things about your project and what's coming around here is the fact is the controller has now become kind of a beacon for the entire project itself. And
Yep.
whether or not it's a tennis ball or a pug butt or whatever, it's becoming something very accessible to users that may not otherwise get a chance to play this game or any other game for that matter. And the fact that you guys are branching out and using this trackball with a couple of buttons and a giant pug's ass, which, you know what? Fuck that. Who doesn't want to smack a pug's butt once in a while?
No, put their face in it.
Sure,
Come
that
on.
too. That's fine. I'm
It's a
just
little
saying,
wet, but we know why now.
What this speaks very
Yeah, nice Lysol.
it speaks very highly to a certain extent of the fact that like this is what a really random idea that catches some ground and actually has some merit to it can become something much greater and much better for a gaming community as a whole, which is a fantastic thing.
And
So-
it sounds like in this article, you guys are making an effort to actually make it something greater. It's not that you necessarily stumbled upon something greater. It's that you set out to do that. And I think that's what I'm most impressed by with this idea. Especially, I'd love to hear more about the idea of whether or not you'd leave the pug butt on there when you make it playable for another game.
I mean, it is the butt sniffing pugs controller, so it has to have a butt.
I agree.
But
optional but included when you buy it.
yeah, exactly. It's like it could be like that marketing. You could use it as marketing and be like, "Hey, bonus pug butt." It's like, "Hey, you get the controller and you get a pug butt with it."
Do with it what you please.
Do what you want with it, but most likely, just please put this on the button. Don't use it for anything else. Yeah, I mean the controller, it you can take the button on and off, because here's a situation. When I went to All Control GDC, I had I have a lot of friends now who make alt controllers, and they're very inspiring because you have these developers who work sweat and tears and joy to just make these very innovative games, and they can only be experienced in where the controller is at, and they provide a sense of physical joy. And the idea that when you kind of like play a video game, it's very one-to-one with the screen, and it's kind of like I use the word joy in that I think that happiness is kind of like one-to-one with like just your like I find happiness like eating the burger that I had today, right? It was a really good burger.
Good call.
I'm getting happiness from hearing about the burger that you ate today.
So joy, I think, is kind of like the experience that you have elation with another person, right? And it lasts longer, it's more memorable. And all of these physical games bring people joy because people could watch them, you could play them with other players, and it's like it's actually physical, it's not on the screen and all that stuff. And so after being inspired by all of those projects, and like a lot of developers, for them it was kind of just like a one-time thing, right? And I was like, well, like if we make these things, or like if I'm going to make this thing and it's a story and people are interested in it, why wouldn't I like utilize that and continue that. You know, it's like when we initially made butt sniffing pugs just to get into GC for free, it was like, because we're poor. I was like, well, why wouldn't I actually utilize this so that like we could make a game off of this, so that this could be our marketing strategy, so that we could like actually maybe use this controller for like other things. It's like, why wouldn't you do that? And so we decided to. And so it was our plan to like go on a tour, because it's like, oh, like, you know, you show people, hey, I have this unique controller. You get picked. It's a lot easier to get picked and stand out from the indie crowd when you have something like that.
Yeah,
and so that's why we were able to go to like all these places like E3 and like IndieCade and PAX. And then to the point where it's like, okay, like, let's like not let the controller die and like maybe like figure out another purpose for it. So that's where accessibility comes in. It's like, okay, like let's mod this and like let's actually like produce it, at least so like an actual non like crappy shot together DIY design exists, you know? Like a nice like sleek plastic shiny BSP like premium off the shelf butt controller can, you know, exist in the world somewhere.
Sure.
So that's kind of our goal, and the idea that it's not like a one-time peripheral, because we all know that like we all have all these Guitar Hero and Rock Band things collecting dust in our garages. So
closets,
it's like,
yeah.
Until now, it's all back, everybody.
I don't think you can even reuse. We'll get to that one soon.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually curious about one of the things I read in the article about, you know, there was a specific individual who came and played the game, and then his father was very, you know,
at PAX.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was at PAX. I wasn't sure what convention.
PAX. Yeah. Actually, what happened was like I was closing up at IndieCade, and then Nathan stopped by, and so I was. I was telling the story that it was funny how I met like PewDiePie at like PAX, and that wasn't the highlight. The highlight was we were closing up, and normally IndieCade is kind of strict, and like if you don't have like a special like lanyard or something, like kick everybody out because it's like set up at its closing time. And so I saw that, and there was this father driving like, or you know, pushing his kid in this wheelchair, and it's like closing time, and I was like, oh no, I'm like, they're gonna kick him out. So like I screamed, I'm like, come play my game. I'm like, come play Bugs. And I probably scared them to death, but I was like, no, I'm like, if they get to the booth, then they're like safe from the other people. So like because I was like, he looks kind of sad because like the kid was kind of impaired. So and there's like PAX is crazy. Like there are so many people at PAX.
It's a nightmare.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was like, I doubt. I'm like, that kid probably got to play like 2 or 3 games. I was like, come over here, play it. And then so like he's like wheeling over, and I'm like panicking. I'm like, how is he gonna play it? How is he gonna play it? Because it's like the controller is very large, and it's like this giant box. And so I'm like reaching over and trying to like pull the butt controller as far as like the cord can go, and like cables are going everywhere, and he's like, what are you doing? Because I didn't have time. Normally there's like a tutorial and other stuff like that, and I just like dev cheat him to like the park. I'm just like, here, and I'm just like, have fun.
Poop
and I'm
on
like,
stuff.
Roll the ball around. Yeah.
These 2 things, and I'm like, this gets you new things. Just have fun. And like the idea that like he was able to play that game because like anybody can use a trackball. The idea that the game BSP was designed from something that was terribly confusing, and it was morphed and like transformed into something that anybody could play. The idea that like that brought him so much joy, and like that moment like catalyzed like why we're making BSP and what BSP is supposed to be. Like his father like crying and being like, thank you to me. Like I would have moms like in like the line be like thanks, like I feel like a cool mom, I could play a video game with my kid. That like making a video game that is like supposed to be accessible and show people that games are for everybody, and like that is kind of like where our successes be. It's like, you know, the idea that you actually make a game that is accessible and outside of a niche, it makes your game successful because then more people can play it.
Exactly.
You know, like these are like, why don't people talk about my game? Why don't people like it? I was like, well, maybe make it more accessible. Then maybe more people. It's like, it's just kind of common sense when you put those pieces together.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
You know, it's like everybody talks about butt sniffing pugs because everybody can play butt sniffing pugs. One of my favorite stories is when we were at RTX in Texas. We had these two kids. I love kids playing our game, and so they played it and they went away. And then after that, they brought their grandparents, and so this grandpa, he came over and he was like, "My kids told me I need to play this game. I heard I could shit in it." Like, oh, okay, sir, right this way. And like he was with his wife and like, you know, so these two old grandparents come and sit down, like, here you go. I'm like, okay, these are your two buttons. This can poop. If you want to get new stars, you have to sniff your wife's butt, and there you go. Stay up for a while, and then he was like, oh, he's like, I get it. Pretty good. I got the grandpa demographic. I got the kid demographic. Everybody can. That's my spectrum. Ages from 5 to 95.
Right, from nothing to everything. Here we go.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I know. Sure. I enjoyed it as soon as I got on the trampoline. I'm like, oh, look at his eyes.
Gabe, talk to me a little bit about the partnership with IndieBox and Able Gamers, just to solidify for the listeners, like how this is working with the controller and how accessibility is becoming a real thing for you guys.
Yeah. So Able Gamers, they hit us up like out of the blue, and they're like, "Hey, we just want to make this controller exist." So we were like, "We're planning this Kickstarter," and they Skype messaged me. I'm like, "Oh, or okay, yeah, totally,"
nice.
Because we've been looking to produce as an indie to produce something like physical, right? It's very hard. So
sure.
Like my buddy Andrew, we had been busting our brains how to like make a nice controller out of nice materials, and it was like, okay, like how much is it going to cost for like kind of a nice ball? How much is it going to cost for like plastic like casing? Plastic casing housing alone would have cost us like $300,000. And like nice. So like we're like, okay, like maybe we can make this out of like semi-nice like sheet metal and like kind of make it user-friendly. And so when IndieBox approached us and we're like, hey, like, can you make it out of plastic? Can you make it nice? They're like, oh yeah. We were like, yes,
awesome.
Of course we go together. Because they just want to make it exist, right? And we're working together for other stuff as well, for the Kickstarter, IndieBox and Space Beagles, but they're kind of just working on the physical side because right now, and just to like make a nice casing for it, and sure. We're doing more of like the electrical. In that right now, the BSP controller is a mouse, and so what we have to do is we have to make the mouse think it's a gamepad, because right now in BSP you have those two giant trackballs which are both mice, and what we have is we use GameMaker to simulate two mice cursors in one environment. And that is a pain in the ass because mice cursors shouldn't exist. Mm-hmm. Right. So we need to code the trackballs to make them think that they're gamepads, and that way they're customizable, right? So you could just
it's one controller with two sticks, essentially, that kind of thing, yeah.
And then that way you could use it for Steam games, and that kind of leads to like the Able Gamers thing. We're sort of like, okay, why don't we help out a good cause? So it's like, okay, kids are able to play this better. You know, old grandparents are like able to play this better because everybody knows how to use a trackball, and trackball's easier. So it's like, why don't we help out kids with disabilities by providing them essentially a giant trackball controller so they can play video games better? And so I'm friends with some of the people from Able Gamers, so I like hit them up. I'm like, hey, do you guys kind of want to be partners with this? So the idea that eventually later on, Able Gamers becomes BSP's partner charity, and so that like some proceeds go to them, so that that helps a good cause, and eventually the Butt Sniffing Pugs controller design exists so that they could utilize it for their purposes, so that their kids can they could like basically play any Steam game they want with the giant trackball, and then so that helps. It's like, oh, not only do people actually like our fans want a giant trackball, but then we're also helping charity as well. Okay. So it's like, hey, like everybody wins, and then as well as that, Able Gamers is also assisting us in the design of BSP. And so whereas like somebody like me is going apart in like 5 million different directions, they're very key and can like totally pinpoint accessibility in a game.
So adding some focus and whatnot, yeah.
Oh yeah. So if it's something like let's say I show them a build, they're like, oh, that color should totally be tweaked because that won't look good for colorblind people. That might have taken me like 30 minutes to see. Sure. So it's something where I could just send them a build and they could be like, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, oh, okay, totally. And then we like fix it. And so that's kind of the idea, because not only do we want to make the controller accessible, but we also want to make the video game as accessible as possible, because that would be a total hypocritical statement. Like, hey, here's this like super cute, like, you know, you can play all these games, but butt-stuffing pugs, it's like, careful, and they're like, oh, I can't play this, you know. That would
Absolutely. It's like it's not a second note. The game is
it's not Dark Souls,
part,
you know?
well,
Yeah.
sure, but what I'm saying is that the controller and the game are part and parcel to each other. But but the controller may have some life beyond the game, but the point is that it's still the game plus the controller. You know what I mean?
I'm hoping it goes all the way down the avenue where it's like, hey, Grandma, play Grand Theft Auto with this controller. Okay, when you get the hooker in the car,
Rolling around.
you press
You
on
can
the
kill
pug
her
butt.
and get your money back if you roll the
If
ball
you were
backwards.
Dark Souls speed runs with the pug button.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
That's what I'm into.
I'm down
man.
for that.
No, absolutely. All right. We're a couple beers deep at this point, so obviously that means it's time for the lightning round. Krakow.
Yes, insert sound effect here.
Insert sound effect. All right, panel. While some of you know how this works, others may not. We're going to take a few quick topics and give people a minute to chime in, uninterrupted, mostly. We will award points based on nothing in particular, and everyone's going to get a chance to chime in. So, topic number 1. Being proud of your product is probably a good thing, but you probably shouldn't be reviewing it on Amazon and pretending like you aren't biased about your own work. I'm looking at you, Harmonix. This week, Harmonix developers and employees were caught by Reddit users giving 5-star reviews to Rock Band 4, but which by all accounts is supposed to be pretty good. So was Guitar Hero Live, apparently.
Who's first?
Nikk,
Hey,
I'm going to give you a minute to talk about why this is this allowed? Is a good or bad thing?
this is a good thing that they got caught or a bad thing that they got caught? Like,
You tell me.
in my opinion, this is kind of like yes, companies do this. Like, it's kind of like most companies probably review their own games, or not even like games, but most people review their own products to say that it's going to be better, just so they can sell better copies of it. Because entire like nations run off of Metacritic or something. Like it's it's just it's like, should I go see this movie? Yes. And so people go see the movie because Metacritic told them to or something. And so if people are reviewing the game to be hot, like better than it is, even though I guess the game's already getting good reviews by non-biased sources, it's not really a big deal. It's just something companies do. It's a normal practice, and they got caught. I don't know. Does that make it right? It's like, oh, they got caught. Like they Watergated it or something. So.
They Watergated it.
It's like someone catching, oh my god, this review is paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Yelp.
Yeah.
Good
all right.
timing, by the way.
Yeah, that was your minute. Gabe, you have 1 minute to talk about why this. Tell me how you feel about it.
Ready, go.
Go.
I mean, like, I won't lie. I have 3 Twitter accounts, so whenever there's a butt-stuffing pugs tweet, it's like, you might see like 3 immediate faves on it. I wonder who those are from. But that's something that's like, I don't know, that's social networking. You know, that's just making something more known. If it's a review, like I could see it's like, oh, hey, Bob's like leaves a review. He's like, I really like this game. I worked on it. But like, if your whole company's doing that, like maybe you should be like, instead of using that energy to just like ask your friends to talk about it. I don't know. That's kind of comes to the whole point where it's like you're the idea that you're reviewing this game, you're basically falsely advertising your product and not believing in it. Like if they believed in like Rock Band, right? Wouldn't they not need to do that? Like wouldn't they be like, hey, we could spend this, like I shouldn't need to review my own game and say like, hey, my game's good. Look at me. It's basically what they're doing. Yeah. And then they got caught for it, and then like, you know, it's not really a like, oh, this is bad. It's kind of just like a rule on the wrist type of dealio.
No, and well said. First of all,
you can give out any points.
I am going to give out points right now. We let you go over your minute because you're the guest. So
also because the sound effect probably doesn't go back.
The buzzer on our end does not.
We got like it was like 1 second or 2.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. But a well used minute. Nikk, I'm going to give you 36 points. Not a prime number this time.
Square number.
Okay, great. And say that you had a good minute.
It was
Yeah, he's
okay.
got to go square.
You addressed it appropriately.
I didn't go over my time.
That's fine. And Mr. Telepak, I'm going to give you 49 points for
Good job.
for just honestly, it was an enthusiastic minute at the very least,
For
and
sure.
I'll give you the bonus for that for sure. Mr. Arroyo,
Oh, I get to go.
you get to go. I'll go last on this one.
I don't have as big of an issue with this as some of the comment threads and what the article is about. I actually think it's very similar. You have to start a fire somewhere. You need the kindling, and the kindling usually starts at home. So you're like similar to what Gabe had to say about the 3 Twitter accounts that always like to favorite something. We are always the first people to retweet shit that we post from the Cheat
Correct.
Codes podcast, Twitter, and so on. And mind you, our first 5-star review came from our very own community manager. So I think that it makes a lot of sense. You have to do that to start, to get people interested, and then let it becomes organic at some point, but people don't understand the groundwork it takes to get anybody to even say, hey, I'm a thing in the midst of all this other shit that you see every day. So I don't really have a big issue with it at all.
Okay. I'm going to give you 25 points.
It's fucking three square numbers in a row.
That's the point,
25's a good
obviously.
number.
Yeah, well, you pointed it out, so now I have to follow that median.
Joe Erskine.
I have a minute.
You're
Here
up.
we go. So I agree, most specifically with everything that you just said, Gabe. Like using social media appropriately, like when you're a small grassroots operation, like promoting your own shit to get more people to pay attention to your shit. That's appropriate, just like you said, Joe, just now. All right, but there's a problem that I have, and I think the problem most consumers have, that when you turn around and have a large corporation that, at least on paper or at least from a media standpoint, has a lot of attention and therefore a lot of money, that like when you have your own employees spending time reviewing your product, I think that seems a little bit weird to your average consumer, and that's what creates a little bit of doubt in the marketplace. And so if I was Harmonix, I'd be like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should have a company policy about this. Apparently they do. And apparently now they're going to alter it to a little bit. Like if you are an employee that loves doing what you do, you should absolutely be allowed to review the game that you worked on. And that's a good thing. At the end of the day, play by the rules. Pay attention to your customers is all I'm saying.
Oh, you had it at the end. You just said
You just had to
play
keep
by the
going
rules. and
after
you,
that.
You went past the time.
Yeah,
limit.
so I'm,
Yeah, that
I'm-
would have been solid ending.
Oh yeah, we forgot. Gabe, whenever the host goes, our guest gets to give them
Right.
points.
So now you get to give me points.
So how did he do?
You would have been like a solid 37, but you
Okay.
trickled off. So I'm giving you a 35.8.
Oh.
Oh,
That was okay. I'll
Still
accept
pretty
that.
good.
I'll
It's still
accept that.
better than me.
worse than me.
35.8 in green.
Okay.
Like
Good
it's
enough.
green color, so it feels affirming and nourishing.
Topic 2. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. But topic 2, a gamer science project is coming to EVE Online. Play spreadsheets in space and help scientific research. It'll be a mini game focusing around human players reviewing microscopic images that need to be identified and categorized. It's been a while since we talked about EVE, so I would be remiss if I didn't allow Nikk to start this, even though I let him start the last
I feel
one.
like he should end it, right?
You know what? Fuck that. You're right.
Okay.
He will end it. So, Gabe, we're going to give it to our guest to talk for a minute about crowdsourcing scientific initiatives through large-scale multiplayer games.
In spaceships.
I mean, who plays EVE Online?
You'd be surprised.
I know there's a whole ecosystem of people.
Yeah.
That's a whole another society that has their own currency and stuff like that. I mean, I guess it's good. I would rather, from the guy who wants to see a Google Docs video game, I would honestly just take it out of EVE. I would play something like that
Alright.
if it was looked like Google Docs. That would be super fun. And then I'm helping a good cause, and I would feel better about myself. Why do I need go into EVE to play it? That's basically, that's not like, oh my god, like, don't you have to have like an account to like play EVE Online? That's basically saying, hey, you know, it's like, if you pay like $bazillion a month, you can help with scientific research. No, I want to help scientific research for free for my charity.
That was amazing. I'm going to give you 121 points because you said everything correctly.
Oh, your opinion.
I'm still the host, god damn it. Anyway, Mr. Arroyo, you have a minute.
Okay, if you weren't aware, there already have been games that were standalones that were dedicated to this type of stuff, especially in Seattle. They had the protein folding stuff and all of that. They were games solely dedicated to this concept. So the reason why I actually think that the EVE Online idea is fantastic built upon this model is that they take a community of people who are already advocate gamers and they give them a way to earn currency in the game itself to play a game, a mini game. And those people are going to do that, I think, I'm sorry, but I think they're going to do that a lot better and a lot more efficiently than people who just pick up a game solely dedicated to the idea of folding proteins to figure out connections between those things. So I'm actually more on board with this in EVE, even though I do not play EVE at all, than I am for the standalones that existed prior to this. But I don't know. Maybe when the Google Docs version comes out, I'll have a different opinion out of it.
All right, fair enough. It's my minute. You get to go last.
I don't.
Hang on to those thoughts, buddy.
Yeah.
Joe Erskine.
All right. So, as long as there are spreadsheets in space, that means there's data collection and organization happening. So why not crowdsource some scientific research? This makes nothing but sense to me. No, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. That just makes sense. So let's just do it. Why not? More MMOs? Anything that has a strong player base deserves to be used for the greater good. Like, why not use something that is already aggregating data to have something that's already doing research anyway? This makes nothing but sense. So I see the rest of my time.
You didn't give me points, by the way.
12.
I'm going to give you 144 points.
Oh, sexy.
And I'm already going to preempt you with 81. But go ahead. I'm going to give my... Well,
What if I just concede my time right now?
Also,
still get
lastly,
81 points.
Gabe hasn't assigned your...
solid
your
100. Oh no, that's pretty solid.
Wait, what was it? What was the number?
Solid hundo.
Yeah.
Solid
hundo.
100. Yeah.
For real, Joe.
It's okay. I'll get
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. That was nice.
To round it off, good luck, Nick.
finish-
Fitting this in a minute. I know how badly
don't-
you want to. Ready, set.
I'm just going to concede my time.
What? What?
I'm
Okay.
kidding.
Ready, set, go.
I guess what this reminds me the most of is past projects where people have they've crowdsourced this kind of information out to the community and had gamers, I guess, solve these complex protein problems in a week in comparison to the time that it takes normal scientists, I guess you could call them,
Or even computers.
Normal scientist.
to figure them out in months. And that's what this reminds me of. I don't know. I read something on Escapist a little while ago or something. Not a little while, 2 years ago or something, where they solved some kind of I think it might have been the protein folding thing or something, where gamers figured it out faster than anybody else or something, in a week time. And that's what this reminds me of. It's kind of cool that they're doing it in a game. And what a game where people are more into data crunching, than EVE Online, I guess. It'd be cool that this model carries over to other games, I suppose. But
I like it. He agreed.
spaceships. If you could do it in spaceships, then it's cooler, I suppose.
You get a bunch of points. What's the square of 13?
Don't worry about it.
169.
There you go. 169 points for you. All right, last lightning round topic for the day. The producer on Indiana Jones 5, because we all know it's happening, says he won't recast the role James Bond style. Is there a worthy successor for Harrison Ford? Do we just let it go? Or how long before Hollywood just fucking reboots it anyway and brings back Shia LaBeouf?
You had to say it, didn't you? Who's first? I feel like Gabe really wants to go.
Gabe, I'm gonna give you point on
you
this.
said that name. Okay.
Ready to go.
Like, you said that name, and immediately my heart just like sank. Like Shia, like replacing like Indy. Oh my God.
Would you rather have Chris Pratt?
Can't like he'll never meet up to it, but he'll be like, if he can take the like just do it like and like like even if he takes that like pure energy and like catalyzes it into the new like Indy, it will never be like what Indiana was, and like the suaveness and the ruggedness and like that was Harrison Ford. You can't replace him, and so it's like if anything it'll make it more satisfying, you know. But
Okay. Well said. I'm gonna give you also 121 points because I'm having trouble remembering square numbers over the value of 11 or 12 at the moment. But well done. I agree with you. Mr. Arroyo, you have a minute.
I like the idea of not trying to replace Indy. So I think it's cool that they're going to do another role. What I'm concerned about most is that it's going to feel really weird timing-wise with the way they're doing Star Wars with Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones with Harrison Ford, where he's just going to play like the older version of his character who's giving advice to a younger, like, you know,
generation.
Yeah, like the predecessor, like
the next generation.
And I feel like that's what's going to happen. So we're going to get that in Star Wars, and then Indiana Jones is going to come out, and it's going to be him telling Shia LaBeouf how to become the next Indiana Jones, even though he's not really. I hope it's not Shia LaBeouf. I hope. Oh my God. I hope it's anyone but. I don't really care who it is at this point.
Wait, Shia LaBeouf?
Yes, Shia LaBeouf. But
okay,
it's him. You know, just accept it.
What's that fucking musical where it's just
Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah, it's the Shia LaBeouf musical. Nikk Golesh.
I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier while Joe was ranting, but I hope they Picard it in a way. Like you got that classic Star Trek where Captain Kirk, of course, and he's in the original series and the best movies of the series, I think. But then you got Captain Picard, which a lot of people like get behind also because they really like him, but it's a completely different kind of Star Wars. And if they could do the same Star Trek, sorry.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. We've been talking so much of Star Wars, it's kind of like it slips all the time. But
I'd like to welcome our guest, J.J. Abrams.
Yeah. Talk about mediocre, but
Oh God, keep going.
It'd be really cool, like to continue the universe of Indiana Jones in a fashion where Indiana Jones isn't actually available. I don't know what the hell they're going to call it because Indiana Jones is the character and they named it after him. Whether it's like Mystical Relic Hunter or something. That's the name of it, I guess. I don't know.
Good.
The correct name is Montana Jim.
Montana Jim. Idaho Jake.
He just needs another dog to name his kid out after, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
I honestly hope
References.
that Sean Connery's in the next one and not
He's
Harrison
officially
Ford.
retired from acting.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen, unfortunately. But
He doesn't
all
have
right.
to act. He just sits
So,
there.
do I get a minute or not?
No. Oh, I thought we were done.
I suppose you do.
Do I get a minute?
Fine. Go.
I'll just
All
give
right.
you your points.
Ready to go.
Here's the thing. There are some movie franchises that should not be touched, okay? I think everybody's done a good job about avoiding remaking Back to the Future, okay? It's 2015. We get it. We've officially gotten to the point where this is supposed to be your future. Yeah. Great. Guess what? There's 3 movies that we can all go back and watch that still hold up after a test of time, and it's amazing. Like there's that whole fucking Biff Tannen thing versus Donald Trump thing. Now is the perfect time to watch our future happen. We don't need to remake the fucking movie because it's fucking happening. All right. When it comes to Indiana Jones, leave it the fuck alone. All right, you want to make some fucking TV shows or some fucking like spin-off shit? By all means,
They made
do
TV
it.
shows.
If you make another Indiana Jones movie, and it doesn't star Harrison Ford, I don't care if he's an old man. I don't care if he's if he's a brain inside of a machine. I don't give a shit. If you redo it, you're fucking up.
They made a TV show.
I see the rest of my time.
Oh, you didn't have any.
I know. I don't have any. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh my god, I need to know what Gabe is going to give you in terms of points on that one. I was angry.
That's like square roots. Can I say that's like a 169?
Sure.
Just to stay on topic.
I appreciate that.
I like that. I like that.
I love that very much, actually.
That a lot. I don't know if he deserved it. He sounded more like an angry grandpa. It was like, get off my lawn, you kids. But
spirited. Seems something Harrison would appreciate.
True.
Well done. Well done. All right. I got to take a deep breath after that. That was good. We should call it, though. Episode 69, it's all about wrapped up. Gabe, thank you so much for taking the time, man, and hanging out with us. Participating in the lightning round is fun or not fun as that might or may not be for you. We do really and sincerely appreciate it. Tell the folks at home one more time where they can check out more about butt sniffing pugs and all the happenings of Space Beagles and where they may or may not be able to stalk you on Twitter.
You can check out Butt Sniffing Pugs at buttsniffingpugs.com.
That makes sense.
No G. That's very important. Sniff in. And you can stalk me on Twitter, just Gabe Telepak, GabeTelepik. I'm so busy, I just tweet most of the stuff anyways. I mean, you could go to like Space Beagles or Butt Sniffing Pugs on Twitter, but it's mostly just retweets. So
may I ask you a quick question? If someone types in butt sniffing pugs, do they get something they really don't want?
No, not that I'm aware of. Yeah, I think we're fine.
I appreciate that disclaimer. That's a good one.
So
I appreciate that.
You're safe. You're
just
safe.
curious because
don't Google butt plugs. That could happen.
Slightly different name. Yeah, I think so. Well, because I asked that because I after moving out here, I was having like a hankering for some In-N-Out burger, and I went to InandOut.com, and that was a bad idea.
That was not.
That was a really bad idea.
Oh, good. Okay, well, I could, sure. Maybe I should double check.
Yeah, you should check. You should check on.
I'm pretty sure you're fine.
Okay. Good.
I also will name drop that we are going to be doing a Kickstarter for BSP.
Cool.
And we did say October, but shit happens, and we're like, nobody's waiting on us, so we just decided to delay it. So hopefully sometime this November, sometime soon. I would recommend if you go to the website, we have a mailing list, and so I'll basically just hit up people on the mailing list, be like, hey, Kickstarter's coming soon.
Sweet.
Stuff like that. So there'll be some fun rewards. We have some fun stuff planned, including making the butt controller and some shirts and like other stuffs.
Awesome.
So
yeah,
we're gonna link to as much of it as possible when we post this. Thank you again, man. We are grateful, and our congratulations to you and your teammate, who is apparently now your wife or fiance rather.
Fiance.
Oh, when's the date?
It is February 8th. Yeah, next year.
Nice.
Yeah, and shout out to my team because BSP is a team of 9.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
so,
really cool.
I know, it's freaking crazy. Yeah, it used to be just like me, Theory, Michelle, and Midio. Now it's like a team of 9. So it's freaking crazy.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It's an amazing thing,
cool.
man. We are super grateful that you could spend time with us, and we're super excited to see what happens with the controller, but also the game as well, man. Like these guys have played it. This is something we talked about. Like, believe it or not, we actually talked about this game on the podcast many episodes ago. So, the fact that we actually got to have talk to you guys, to you and everybody else now is an amazing.
Yeah,
thing.
it means a lot to us. We tweeted some photos at PAX of us playing the game as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely not out of the blue. So, make sure you guys hit up Gabe on Twitter. Make sure you guys go check out Butt Sniffing Pugs. Make sure you check us out, because we're on iHeartRadio now, so you should make sure you do that in case you were looking for a new venue to come hear us. Thank you so much for being here, dear listener. Let us know what you think. Hit us up at cheatcodespodcast.com, Facebook, Twitter, and get on in the conversation. Spread the word. Tell all your friends. Until then, stay tuned next week for a new episode. We got more great guests coming. Enjoy your Halloween, everybody. Happy Halloween, Gabe. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I gotta be a Pikmin in about a couple of days.
Oh, that's
That
great.
That sounds awesome. And I'll leave you with this final thought. San Dimas High School football rules.